Hi, welcome to my channel. It's been a while since I've posted anything. However, back in September, after watching a YouTube video by Mr. Cut and Stick, this particular video of his was about Surreal Collage, I decided to have a go with it and see what fun I could have. So I call this series, and it's a series of 59. I just finished the book yesterday. I call this my small stories, and what I have found is that sometimes I have a story in mind before I begin, and at other times I find the story as I start on the page. I use a lot of magazines, National Geographic being probably one of my favorites, and I can spend just a couple hours looking through and tearing out pages and cutting out images that I don't really have a plan for as yet, but I sort of build up a stash. And then when an image does catch my eye, I start to play with that. One of the things I enjoy about collage is that it allows you to basically audition, see how pieces, the shapes and the colors come together, and then eventually you might find a story. I call this one Drinks with Old Friends. It amused me to see these lovely ladies immersed in their cocktails going for a swim. When I was on the road shortly after I started this collage book, I thought, well, I'll just pick up images along the way, and so I had my sketchbook, a cutting mat, an X-Acto knife, and a pair of scissors with a glue stick. And I found this beautiful illustrated book from the 50s that had wonderful botanicals in them. As you see, another thing I enjoy using are those lovely paint samples that one finds in paint stores and other locations. I just like the way that they look on the page, and sometimes the names of the paints sort of add to the collage. So again, these were all done while I was on the road with very limited materials. I think I purchased one magazine and had the book of botanicals. As I said, sometimes I find the story once I'm working on the project, and other times I have a story in mind. So I hope you enjoy. I'm just going to do a flip through, and again, I hope you enjoy my completed Surreal Collage sketchbook. As you can see, sometimes I'm just having fun. A lot of it has to do with colors and shapes, just how they look together. And how do I know it's right? It just feels that way. I think that's the only one that I have with a different orientation. Cameras and watches are great to use as an entryway or an exit for other things. I did use some gold foil, which I'm not sure if that shows up real well, but it just added some nice detail. This one I particularly liked. And I had come across some vintage greeting cards that actually my father had sent to my mother, and I thought, well, let's give them just a new life. This is called When I Was Young, and I'm not sure that these show up, but they're images of younger women, you know, and as we age, we can look back and have hopefully fond memories of when we were younger. I do like the greens and the golds in this one. This was fun to do. Again, I found this in some papers I was going through, just an old sticker from a hotel. And this is where I started thinking about AI and how it is basically taking so much information, and there's sort of this push-pull between old school ways of getting information and AI, and this is called AI ambivalent. There are such positive uses, in my opinion, for AI, and yet there's it's a double-edged sword there. Oh yeah, this was another one. This is from that same card. It was Valentine's Day card. And going back to the artificial intelligence, there's such a massive information, and sort of playing on that apple, you know, and the snake and knowledge, and getting sort of biblical on that one. And I think many women can perhaps relate to the two sides of our lives often are, you know, the business, the working, earning an income, and being a homemaker. This is sort of a tribute to Joshua Slocum, who was the first person to travel via boat around the world. This is called Taste Like Chicken. How many of us have tried something new and unusual and decided, it tastes just like chicken? Again, the gold foil, which I'm not sure it shows up very well on camera, but it does add a nice effect to that. And tourist, how many of us have been tourist or lived in a place where tourism was a big source of economic wealth? This definitely relates to climate change. This was another, just a fun one. all my ducks in a row. And although I have titles for each of these, I would hope that people would look at them and find their own small story in it, or big story. Or maybe just enjoy the colors and the shapes together, because it simply appeals to them for that reason. When I saw this bunch of carrots, all I really saw were legs. So that's where that one came from. It was called Naturally Neutral. This one I simply like the colors and the composition. This is one of my last ones. I call it perspective, and I think often if we could view the world around us from a different perspective, there would be growth in our world and understanding. And this is my last one, and it's not walking on eggshells, but it's rather dancing on eggshells. I hope you've enjoyed the flip through. If you did, please like, subscribe. I know I don't post very often, but I do enjoy sharing what I've done. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.